You know what?
All right, good morning. It's Thursday, December 18th, 2025, and this is the Scio Township Multimodal Transportation Committee meeting. Call attendance
Culbertson,
here.
Moore,
Here.
Aiken,
Here.
April here, absent is Bree. We have tomorrow.
Okay, and, all right, I'm sorry, I'm just grabbing things here. Do we have, what's next? I'm just
Adoption of the agenda.
okay.
The only things on the agenda are, well, the only additional items are public comment, approval of minutes, unfinished business, and adjournment. I would move the agenda as presented.
Is there support? Support by Aiken. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. As posted, public comment. Okay, we have one person here who does not wish to comment. Do we have anyone online?
We have no attendees online.
All right, we'll move to close public comment.
So moved.
Moved by Moore, supported by Yapel. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, public comment is closed at 9:03. Approval of the minutes. Are there any changes to our minutes of 12:04? Thank you.
I'll move the minutes.
I'd support.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes as posted, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, the minutes are approved as drafted. And on to our discussion of public transit services discussion. All right. So we did get in the email, and we should probably, for the record, put the response to the question email in the record.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I think that was an item that I think I intended to include, but
That's
missed.
okay.
So I will,
It will be captured.
okay.
So, and there
I
was.
can upload that.
Yeah. Okay, and then Brian, did you have a conversation or dig into Pittsfield at all?
So I reached out to Patricia Riley, the Pittsfield supervisor. I haven't heard back yet. I'm gonna follow up with our township planner here, see if there's a better contact that would be able to provide that information.
Mhm.
I know they've been getting ready for their renovation at their building, so it might just be a matter of connecting with people in the holidays, what have you. So I had not heard back from them.
Okay,
I guess to give context to where I came back with this from was I had noticed on Pittsfield's website that Pittsfield and People's Express are launching a different or a new public transit service. And they're gonna get rid of Flex Ride and replace Flex Ride with People's Express. So it was an interesting situation. They're keeping a ride still. They're just going to transition away from Flex Ride West, is what they call it. That begins January 1st. Will run Monday through Friday, 7 to 7. And that's gonna cost in township $2 for the general public and $1 rather for discounted fare riders. Obviously the county supported program with the older adults millage, everybody 60 or older could ride for free. So I did reach out to the supervisor of Pittsfield Township, hadn't heard back yet as of this morning, but I will follow up with our planner and see if there's a better point of contact to try and get in contact with. Although given the holidays, it still might take a couple of days.
yeah, $1.
Discounted fare riders, including individuals with disabilities, low income residents, and veterans.
And they operate for general service from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then seniors, it's interesting, for seniors, and that's Monday through Friday, so there isn't any general service, but then for seniors, they have Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 8 to 5, which I thought was sort of interesting how they, you know, made that distinction. That's on their on the Pittsfield People's Express website.
So as I understand what you just said is they don't have, the flex ride, as I understood it, was partly fixed and deviation. In other words, the fixed route deviated from its route, went to pick up a demand for door to door. They deviated from the route, went to the home, picked the person up, went back on their route, and then dropped them off where they were going. Okay, so so they've gotten rid of their fixed route, flex route, and they've gone to, now, do we know People's Express is provided, it's a different provider, but are they providing door-to-door service?
Yeah, it says curb to curb,
Okay,
and you can travel anywhere within Pittsfield Township. And then, but it says trips may also include other destinations within Washtenaw County, depending on availability. And they link with the AAATA bus stops within the township for those connections.
so they've gone to a more expensive service. Interesting. And do they, so it would be interesting to note, Ryan, when you speak to them, if you get an opportunity, it'd be interesting to note if part of their decision was there weren't people in the buses very much, particularly in off-peak time. Like, did they decide to do that? Or was it, yeah, they felt that there was better
Yes. What was the rationale behind the switch?
yeah, like, did they find that there wasn't much ridership on the door to the flex route? Or they felt that it was more efficient or more adaptable to their needs to have door to door, just go with door to door and get the fixed route? Cause that's door to door, as we all know, is a very expensive service, so.
I don't know, I feel like a fixed route though, you're cutting out people who may not be familiar with the service as a whole. Do you know what I mean?
You cut out fixed route,
If you cut out fixed route, you're cutting out folks that don't use the service frequently, but expect it to be available. I don't know, that's just my thought.
I was very intrigued by Marie's, suggestion of doing that. I thought it was very creative, and it really, it seemed to me, it met more needs than, kind of.
trying a hybrid approach.
Right,
Mhm.
right. It seemed really.
She's very creative that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and there is the agreement actually with Pittsfield Township is on the Pittsfield Township Transportation website with their agreement with AAATA, and it has the routes that go into the fixed routes that they're serving.
Where they go.
Yeah, so they have quite a few because they have a Packard route and Ellsworth route.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
would
that
imagine
makes
their transit cost
I've
should
never
be
seen a
pretty
bus
high.
over there though. An ATA bus now.
Yeah.
I go frequently to get gas and Costco and stuff, so I'm up and down Ellsworth in that area, but I must be just missing them.
Yeah.
And I think that, I would just want to throw this out here about the fixed route, because it may sound like I'm against fixed route, but I've been thinking of riding the fixed route at different times. I have a sense that the buses are running empty at particularly at off-peak time. But I don't wanna, I'm saying it today, but I don't know that for sure. And I think the only way you can know that is to ride for a week here and there and get a sample. And then the other thing is, but after having been educated by Ryan last time about who's paying the taxes for the services, uh, you know, in terms of policy of what types of services that we contract for, there's certainly a rationale for having the fixed route service along Jackson Road to bring in employees, to bring in people that use the services, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just, the big thing is I'm curious about who's riding, that's my only.
Yeah, you know, and you're talking about the triple ATA fixed route?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my, you know, my thought too was, you know, if we, because that connection into Ann Arbor is much cleaner for people that are going back and forth and connecting in, like going maybe to Ipsy or something like that, if they're from an employment standpoint. But, yeah, so, you know, I think you know, I'm really interested in, you know, pursuing that Marie's option. And then yeah, whatever she called it, yeah, whatever she called it, but yeah, that's how and it sounds like with the state, not clawing back that other funding, maybe that would.
Sprinter?
The Sprinter, was that, she called it the Sprinter? or
Is that what she
something?
called it?
Yeah, it's one of the terms.
One of the terms that you use,
Yeah.
yeah, but it gives us then another year to really ask AAATA for, and some employers and stuff like that, and do a little more research on who's using the Jackson Road, where they're going, and whether or not, because my big question is, could you go to an all-wave service and have a different connection with the city of Ann Arbor? Or is coming all the way into Meyer really, does that really help, you know, the other entities? But, you know, because it's hard to answer that question right now.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to look at, I couldn't find 2025's agreement with AAATA and Pittsfield Township.
Micro transit.
Microtransit, yeah.
But I found the January, this is also weird. AAATA and Pittsfield use Pittsfield's fiscal year, which is a calendar year, whereas with us, they use AAATA's fiscal year, which starts in October, so that's interesting. I think that would be nice if we could align with ours, since you know, we're the one purchasing it, and it makes it a lot easier for us to budget when we don't have to do this weird jumping.
Partial
hoops.
Do we have a calendar year?
No, ours starts in April, for
Ours
whichever
April.
reason, yes.
Yeah,
April's a
that's
March.
a
That's
it's-
different.
Why, I can't tell you. But interestingly, in 2024, from January 1st of 24 through the end of 2024, Pittsfield, which obviously has a lot more fixed routes, not all of them are entirely in Pittsfield, they obviously go to other places. They pay $294,000 for fixed route service.
Who does?
Pittsfield did.
Could you say that again? And I may have missed it.
294.
Take my hat off my ear.
$294,000
For 24-25.
from January 1, 24 to December 31, 24.
Oh, all throughout.
For
years.
3 routes,
There's actually more than that in here.
plus flex.
666,
But,
27, 25, 24, 6, 5, 4. Yeah, so 7.
So,
Parts
Now-
of 7 routes.
so
However much of that is in Pittsfield.
and how much how much was ours?
In
this last year?
2024, I can tell you.
can you give me those routes again?
Yeah, let me do that first. Sorry.
Because it may, a lot of routes were going there before they contracted with Pittsfield, like they were covering that mire out there. And they
Correct.
were also going down Oak Valley, cause I used to live there, the bus used to go down there.
So Route 4,
Route 4, that's like,
which is Washtenaw.
yeah,
Route 5,
okay.
which is Packard. Route 6, which is Ellsworth,
Mm-hmm.
and that has a decent amount that's in Pittsfield, I think. Route 24, which is Eisenhower Gulf side. Route 25, which is Ann Arbor Saline Road. Route 27, which is West Stadium Oak Valley. And Route 66, which is Carpenter Huron Parkway.
66 Carpenter.
Huron Parkway.
Wow.
So here's some interesting things. Flex Ride that year was charged at $180,946.
That was for Flex Ride,
Correct.
So that was
not A
the
Ride.
bulk.
Nope, A Ride was separate. A Ride was $168,374. For a subtotal of local services costs for all fixed route, flex ride, and A Ride demand response being $644,319. Additionally, they charge capital cost of $111,642.
111,000?
Yep, $111,642. This led to a total local cost of $755,961.
That was everything for Pittsfield.
Everything for Pittsfield from AAA in 2024.
So it's very interesting because there are routes that go in the Scio for which our millage does not cover.
Correct.
Like the 26s and all that, and
Right,
the
and the
Dexter
park
and
and ride
Arbor
is
Road.
close.
Yeah.
Well, it comes up to that corner at Dexter and
But the
Dexter and
24,
Wagner.
the Eisenhower Golf side, is Eisenhower and Ann Arbor Sling Road in Pittsfield?
Ann Arbor Saline Road where the fire is in Pittsfield Township.
Okay, but on the other side of the freeway.
No, that is City of Ann Arbor.
Okay,
Yeah, so there are a lot of routes that are kind of like ours.
I'll
that are
have to
kinda
look at
close,
that.
But
because I'm looking at their utilizing of existing routes, I'm wondering if they're stretching them out to cover Pittsfield.
Yeah.
But they've stretched out to cover Scio and they're not charging us for that. Right, they're like their Liberty route is stretched out to go to Scio Ridge and across.
right,
back
and
in.
we're not paying for
And we're
that
not paying for
technically,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess what I found a bit frustrating from AAATA's side was their lack of creative problem solving. And the fact that they didn't come to the table with,
It's more can'ts than,
yeah, then like, oh, we can see if this is, even if you don't have the answers today, there didn't seem to be as much interest in trying to come up with opportunities to make things work. I guess.
and I
guess
think,
it's the best way to
I
say
think part of that too, though, is any changes that they make, they have to go through a very specific process, which involves public feedback, which involves an expense, and just from their perspective, they're not as their processes and their requirements are not very flexible. But why couldn't they still engage in some brainstorming?
Yeah.
What you're saying.
I think there's still the opportunity brainstorming, because there's lots of times you come up with ideas and they don't work out for one reason or another. They don't meet the service delivery needs, they don't work fiscally, they don't work operationally. You know, like, we could say, oh, well, you know, we wanna run the bus 24/7, 365, and we just don't have the money for it, you know?
So interesting, Carpenter here on Parkway, that's an interesting one. That's all up in Green, Plymouth area,
Yeah,
comes in here on Parkway, goes over down, crosses Washtenaw. It does another little thing, but that's not important. Then it gets on Carpenter and it goes across Packard. Now, is that Pittsfield? Carpenter
Carpenter Road is Pittsfield,
and
yes.
Packard?
Yes.
Okay, so it hits Pittsfield. It's a whole route, but it hits Carpenter on this other leg. And then it somehow gets to Oak Valley.
Is it something? Oh, yeah.
But
This,
all of this is Ann Arbor.
all of that is Ann Arbor, correct. So this piece, which is probably,
Which is fine. I mean, that's created to try to, you know, and now you keep throw it at it. Those are some interesting routes. And I would say to you, I'm trying to take a stab at this. I think I did it at the last meeting. AATA slices up service lanes and creates shifts for drivers, but more importantly, slice up service lanes. In other words, there's a time when I was driving that the Washtenaw bus ran every 15 minutes at peak time. Off-peak time, it ran every half hour. And when it came downtown to the Blake Transit Center, it turned into the Jackson and did the 30-minute Jackson loop. And then that bus turned back into the Washtenaw and went eastbound, okay? But at peak time, certain buses never went the Jackson route because they're running every 15 minutes, okay? And so they did not do the Jackson Road loop. That's just one example of fitting in the timetable with utilage of the buses. So when I believe Yang or Anderson spoke to this at the November meeting about we can't do every hour out to Scio. You can do, it may be difficult, it may not fit what you wanted to do, but when you don't have funds to do certain things, you do what you have to do. Now, I don't know I mean, there may be some merit and it's not fair, they're not here to defend that, so.
but I think it's more, it affects a whole bunch of things. This is what I got from them is they can't do that without going back and affecting some other things. So.
Yeah, they would have to take a look at how they,
Right, right.
yeah, how they slice it in and, you know, yeah, for sure.
Which also probably means public hearings and all of those things. I'm not sure, because it sounds like when they make changes and so forth, I don't know. But I think it's more difficult for them to make changes certainly than it is for Wave. Possibly because of the connectivity with how they run their buses, but you'd think that was a computer program.
I'm just saying to you, this is done. That's the only point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think maybe the issue with what I'm thinking from AAATA is giving them more time, you know, saying with our renewal, if we can get the bulk of the funding from doing Marie's creative piece, and then because we're not even sure exactly the costs and everything for that, but then put AAATA kind of on notice that one, we want to evaluate where people are coming from, and going on the fixed route with the possibility of changing the frequency of that, or, some alternatives, basically.
Yeah, and maybe Wagner and Jackson, maybe think like you say, think out of the box. Maybe that isn't the transfer point. Maybe that bus goes into Maple Village and makes that transfer. I'm just thinking out of the box. I don't know if that's makes sense, efficient for the timetable, or rather, it makes sense, but,
Mhm.
we did that for many
A
years
long
at
time.
Wagner.
Mhm.
Now, so anyway, but, there could be other ways of trying to make that happen too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it, to me, it really depends on the Ann Arbor to Meyer, Ann Arbor, going, you'd still want to make it very easy to transfer, no matter
Yes.
where it was.
Yes,
But, maybe even paying a little bit more for that zero transfer fee. At that point,
They
it
don't
would
want to do
save a
that.
whole bunch.
They
Well,
don't
they're
want
going
to do
to, according to, with SEMCOG's trying to work on that.
Oh,
That,
okay.
but it'll probably take 5 years.
Oh, And, and I think that, it makes sense to meet the demand if we can. I mean, obviously, sometimes to meet the, meeting demand is kind of a cost question. Can we afford to meet the demand? Or do we need to scale back because we can't afford to meet the demand? That's a different question. But to meet the demand, when you don't have anybody riding the bus, that's a different story. And that would put a kink in what, according to what AATA are saying too, because the question becomes, should we leave it the same because it fits into the overall AATA scheme of what they want to do? Or can we go back? Because we used to ride every hour. Now, I think what's happening is when, from what I understand, when they got that millage passed, more people got on board with the millage, Scio Township, I'm sorry, Dixie Township, because they had been contractual for a long time until this,
Okay.
just like we are, just like Pittsfield. And whoever else got into that, I don't know, Superior was part of that too, but they had less service. And so, and that's, how you do it, and I kind of lost my point. My point is that yeah, I don't know, I kind of lost my point. There's ways in which I believe AATA has had to accommodate what folks can afford, is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, right.
And I don't think the buses ever ran every 15 minutes to Ypsilanti. They ran every 15 minutes in Ann Arbor, the Washtenaw bus.
Yeah.
The Packard bus, I believe there maybe even Ellsworth, I'm not sure about that, but this is years ago.
That's what I wrote.
Yeah.
Back in the late
'Cause,
1990s.
yeah, I've always had a real direct route with the buses in, just because I always work downtown, so it was a really easy thing. But with the other thing, I like what, looking at where that the transfer should be. Too, because Maple Village, if you did, and Maple Village is easier than Westgate, I think, to get out of.
I think that might be
because of
true.
the,
I go to both of those.
I think that's true, although I will say that at least in recent history, especially during peak hours, the Stadium Jackson intersection is
It's a mess.
a mess.
Mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is going
It's
through
very
that
busy.
intersection.
And don't be behind a person going eastbound. Don't get behind someone turning
It is
left onto
definitely worse, it is
westbound
definitely worse
94.
than trying to have the bus turn left out of Westgate Village Shopping Center during about any hour of the day, unless it's at like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
The West State thing configuration is different because it's smaller than Maple Village. Maple Village has more room to breathe a little
It was
bit.
designed to have delivery vehicles and things. It was also built later in the zoning code. So it
Okay,
was designed with like more access in mind for emergency vehicles or service vehicles or what have you.
Yeah.
Whereas Westgate's an older complex.
Although I have to say, I think it's Brixmore that handles.
Yes.
Maple Village, and Chaconas is it Chaconas involved in Westgate? No,
He leases property there, I do not believe.
he owns it. There's, who's that? It's another. But anyway, Westgate is it is a more locally owned.
Mm.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking about doing the buses, because part of the issue is a lot of times they don't want the buses coming in. And they won't record a stop in a shopping area. Like
Now,
that.
I used to drive the 12
Mhm,
and we used to go in there.
yeah,
And
and
there
they,
was a stop. They don't have it anymore. And this is something that I think over time, as your ridership increases too, you can't afford to be going into these places. And now it's all on Maple Stadium.
I think that's part of the thing. I think that even deviating off into Maple Village would probably add additional
a
time.
lot of time, and it would be unpredictable. I mean, the time.
Yeah, because I used to sit there, I'd get there early at that stop, that time
Mhm.
line.
Yeah, you'd have to have a lot of sitting time just to have a regular.
To stay on, so you don't run early.
Yeah.
Cause I would drove it during off peak, and there were less people riding off peak.
Yeah, go ahead, Kathy.
Can I just a point of information?
Yeah.
There is out there with AAATA, a long-range plan to add extra hubs around kind of the outskirts of the city, like a wagon wheel kind of arrangement. So they're building stations, and that intersection is one of the spots. Although from what I've heard, they don't know which shopping center they use or exactly where, but right at that intersection, they want to have a new hub.
At Maple and Stadium in Jackson, you mean?
Yeah, Maple and Jackson.
So they haven't determined which, or if there's any other option. That's going to be one, and then they'll have, from that spot, they'll also have things rating out kind of the north side of Ann Arbor to the Plymouth area, and then another one going down.
Oh, so you don't always have to go downtown, you can go around.
That makes a lot more sense for congestion.
That's a long-range plan, and it's maybe pie in the sky, I don't know, but they have talked about it, and it's there in their official plans.
Okay, so then that would be something to connect into, because maybe, looking at that as a hub then for, if we did all wave service and wave service went into one or more of those spokes, I don't know.
Westgate is owned by Westgate Enterprises LLC, JDP Management, the Mendelson family. From public records.
Used to be Van Herb.
Interesting, was Oxford about a lot of curl or stuff. Yeah, but
Huh.
it's like it's a family that manages it too.
Yes, Cy Berman is listed as a property manager. Don't know that.
They have completely brought both those plazas back to life. It's a great thing. Okay, can I ask you a question about the Board of Trustees? I know this is part of our charge. Is looking at reducing our costs or getting within our budget.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that budget is what?
I can go back to, but I'll pull it up. So for the next service year, that starts in
26, 27 or 20?
October 1st, 26, so about 9-10 months from now. The amount was $626,353.89.
And that would be based on our millage.
Correct, that was based on
The village kind
a
of.
millage forecast done by Plant Moran for the township.
Okay. And the forecast for regarding AAATA for those same period, 2026, 2027 is what?
What AAATA says our cost is going to be?
Yes.
I have not yet received that information from them.
Okay, and so similarly, so you've not received that information for from Wave.
correct,
But we know currently the 25, 26, we're over budget.
correct.
And for 25,
What did the board approve for 25, 26? That was $856,000,
856 grand,
$429.
$429.
So that's $230,000 and change.
And that's real dollars. In other words, that's what Wave and AATA asked for.
Correct.
Okay.
Our indication was a couple of things to go back to planning through this. Excuse me. Ken's statement to us was if we need them to do something to change their service model, we need to basically communicate that to them by the middle of February. To allow for enough time for the public input process that AAATA has. When I made this motion and this.
By February what?
We'll call it February 14th, 13th's a Friday. When I made this motion back in September, my goal was, what has happened for the last several years as I've been involved here, is this conversation always seems to come up sometime either in late August or early September. And it's always just like, here you go, put this on the agenda, and let's get it
Yes.
passed.
I totally get you.
And it's just like, okay.
Where's
We
the
know,
planning?
we know we have a problem from a planning perspective.
Yeah.
We know we have a financial problem, but nobody is talking about it. So we need to talk about it and come up with a solution. So what I put into the agenda item that passed the board was that we need to, which we did, I believe I sent you all the letter that was sent from the board of trustees.
Oh, you did.
Okay, we'll send it again, so that way you have it. Where it informed both AAATA and Wave that we need to collaborate on a service. Apparently misspelled, I wrote service delivery model. That achieves the fiscal requirements and service needs of the township no later than May 31st of 26 for the 27 proposal. That way we have it by the end of May and we have time for the board to consider it. Same thing, end of May of 27 for the 28 proposal. That way we have time to consider it. The other thing within that letter is that two pieces. That was actually the service model. That's what sort of created this committee subsequently. The actual proposal is supposed to be delivered no later than June 30th for the board review. That way, you know, if we and or AATA or Wave gives recommendations, the board can bless or approve those recommendations and or alter them if the board sees fit for any reason, I guess. And then they have time, you know, to approve legally and to form the purchase service agreement.
So this millage, the budget for 26, 27, this millage figure is 626 grand.
Correct.
That's basically what we're gonna get every year, except for some things that come on deck.
You can
complexes.
figure 2 to 3% inflation is about average over the last several years. For property values and therefore taxes and any new additions. So certainly this year in particular, we got a nice little bump from Heritage with Woodview Commons.
Okay.
Last year, their winter tax bill as a whole, mind you, they pay for school tax and other things. It's like $370,000. This year, their winter tax bill is $858,000.
So what was the millage for this year? It's 25, 26.
In total for just that property?
No, the millage for transit services.
Wow, I can tell you that too, you just said. $0.3627 million.
3627,
Correct.
so 1,036,000.
No,
That's a dollar amount?
0.3627 mils is what you're talking about what the millage is bringing in this year?
That's correct.
Okay, sorry, I thought you were asking for the millage rate, give me a
No, I
moment.
know, it's a 0.6 something 37.
Yeah. We recorded a receivable for it, so I can just go into the general ledger and pull it up. It just takes me a moment to get in there since it's not yet open. I'm glad we could talk about this, cause this is the numbers that start to matter for it.
Sure.
We could talk about service all day long.
Oh, yeah,
It's like,
no, I
it's
didn't wanna-
important, but if we don't have the money for it, it's like.
Right. I wanted to get back to it because I didn't have the numbers, so I
Oh,
wanted
sure.
to get the numbers, so I keep that in front of my head too. And I think so while you're looking at that,
Yeah, the forecast that was done, I have that readily available.
okay,
That was projected to be $621,531.
okay,
Let's
hence
see.
the 250.
Yeah,
those-
yeah.
So, I think I agree with you, Jan, I'm intrigued by, Marie's idea, Wave's idea about, using, hybrid, fixed, what I call the deviation, the flex, you know, and I'm curious what the numbers are about
Yeah.
that. So I think that's one thing, Madam Chair, that we would like to see what are the hours of service? What is the route? Does the route stay the same? If so, then we have the route, but if the route changes and then the cost to
Yeah.
that service
To flush it out.
compared to what the
Yeah.
cost of running the route right now. And I think she did.
She had, it
Did
was,
she have some figures?
she thought, yes, she did have some figures. And I think they were. But I think also what is, the time that it's running too.
She didn't, I don't have figures here,
Yeah.
but that, maybe I just didn't get it
She
back.
gave a verbal estimate that she believed it could save approximately $200,000.
Okay,
I believe she was going back to
Yes,
do
yes.
some additional research and validation on that number, and that was just a matter of her having that information, so I think we could invite her and AAATA back to the next meeting. Hopefully our other member would be able to be present too. I know he had to miss last meeting, he had a scheduled conflict, so we could make sure that everybody was here and so, you know, provide what we've discussed in our thoughts, but also allow
Well, what
that.
are our thoughts?
Well,
We haven't really.
my thought,
decided
well, here's one of my
anything.
thoughts.
Okay,
One of my thoughts is AAATA needs to be asked to come to the board with some more creative brainstorming. That's just my opinion, but I'm open to hearing other people's ideas.
I'm just looking at the overall AAA map and, this is kind of my wondering is, if we eliminated, if Wave took,
you're looking at wave stuff.
this is the AAA.
Okay,
Yeah. One of if Crossroads ever comes, if Crossroads moves ahead, okay,
Yeah,
I keep wondering if Wave couldn't cover the corridor with this flex and tie into the routes with AAATA. So it was, this micro transit, but, connecting with AAATA at Wagner and Jackson. And then have them look at, and this would be a future kind of thing. And then future would be, okay, talk to us about this hub in your plan that's, at Maple and Jackson. And then I want to see if in their plan, they're gonna loop Wagner and Liberty. Okay, cause one, that gets closer to WISD, but then, Wave could still serve WISD, but, and then. I mean, that's they'd have to redesign stuff to do that, but that would be an option that would actually serve. 242, the employees that are, along Jackson Road too. I mean, I'm thinking, along Wagner, I'm thinking, kind of future. Cause I think, I don't wanna solve this for like next year, but really looking at.
It'd be nice to solve it structurally for like the next
Mhm.
10 to 20.
Solve our deficit, solve our
It'd be nice
deficit.
if we could do 20, it's probably a little unrealistic.
Solve our deficit problem, but also look at our long-range plan.
So
Right.
one of the things, that $621,000 number I gave you for the projection for this year. Of that, the projection was that the tax roll was going to bring in $573,499.
573, 499.
So, funny story, I ran a tax roll with adjustments, so we receive, in the treasurer's office, because it's very unusual for people to know. Veterans, if they're 100% disabled, get an exemption from property taxes. Sometimes there's adjustments from the board of review for, mistakes of clerical error or poverty exemptions or what have you. So our adjusted tax roll for this winter for the township transportation millage is actually only $515,999.
515, 955.
999. So that's about $57,500 lower than originally forecasted.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
in addition to that, as if we collect every single dollar that's owed. Do we eventually do that? Generally, yes. Well, generally, yes, I will say. But we also often have 1.5% to 2.5% of people that either just never pay any attention to their bills or forget or are out of the country for 6 months for some unusual reasons. So we don't always get that revenue right on time.
Okay.
So yeah, that we probably need to look at that number again in the future.
Okay.
Because that's a bit rosy at the moment. It's also projecting interest earnings that are a little bit rosier than I would currently in that $621,000 number. $16,000 was projected for interest earnings. I spoke with the Bank of Ann Arbor folks yesterday. We received a 0.25% cut yesterday from November's interest rate reduction by the Federal Reserve.
Mhm.
And we expect to receive another reduction in early
'Cause
January
it's
from
gonna-
December's interest rate reduction. So I would say that number one, with having less collected, and two, with having a declining interest rate environment, is a bit optimistic.
Yeah, so why
So
don't we
that's
say,
fun.
one, I'm kind of, next steps. One,
Yep.
I think we need to, look at those numbers and
Yep.
get a projection, let's say 5 years.
Okay,
And then I think we need to say, okay, Marie, we like this idea, work it out and see what it looks like and a 5-year kind of thing. And AAATA, I think we need to be, this is the one I'm trying to figure out. We need to discuss sort of their future plans, our future plans, and it just seems to me that looking at numbers, that Wave is more flexible, less expensive, can meet service need, tailor their service to meet needs better than AAATA. I mean, that's what I'm seeing. So part of to ask Marie too is, could Wave cover the corridor? And so it would be going back to AATA and say, okay, we're going back to Wagner at this point. We'll look at, if you're gonna do a hub, the goal would be to go into a hub you know, in the future. And Wave would work out, you know, so people could count on getting picked up relatively quickly. Cause I think they would know when the bus, you know, could figure out easily when the buses were gonna hit that stop, right?
They'll have a time point.
Yeah,
Yep,
You
and
talking about the AATA service?
yeah, well,
they-
AATA, yeah, and Wave connecting,
Or-
you
or
know,
they'll
at
have a-
Wagner in it, and see if we can, if that can fit our budget.
And two buses, just a reminder, hit that time point. or
Right.
Hit that area.
Right.
At
You
Ann
have the
Arbor
Dexter,
Jackson
you have the
Road.
31 and the 30. And then
And
it
that-
could set it up then for a future loop that would serve the Liberty.
agreed.
Why do you say that, Jan?
Just looking at the map, you know, it just
Oh,
sets up.
I got you.
You know, it used to serve Liberty, Wagner, a ways back. There was a bus that did that, but when they reconfigured it, they took that out, but that could be, I don't wanna see that now, but maybe in 5 years. And then see what they think about this wagon wheel thing and how, you know, really look down the line so that you know, we connect at the perimeter of Scio with AAA and have the micro transit within the township. Cause it sounds like an awful lot of the wave trips are within the township. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people coming into the township are coming from the west, not necessarily from Ann Arbor, is my thinking.
Yeah.
We'd have to get data from AAA on that though.
Yeah, kind of back to what Kim was saying, is how many riders are we getting on the AATA, right? There's only just a handful.
Yeah, and if you have to transfer money,
During off-peak
is
time.
that, is that, you know, is the transfer at Wagner? And it could be, you know, Wave folks could, the bus drivers could actually probably ask, they're coming. you know, The people that they pick up, yeah.
Now, when you talk about that micro service, I'm curious, and this is something we'll have to, and maybe we have to think of some things as longer term issues. If you change that into a micro service, one of the buses or two buses, one of them becomes fixed in demand.
Right.
How much does that take the bus off of Jackson Road? Cause right now we got 3 buses. We got
Right.
AATA's bus, we got 2 wave buses.
Yeah,
going
so you'd be
down
going
Jackson
down,
Road.
you know, you'd be cutting the number of buses that are traveling
Correct.
in half almost. Yeah.
Well, it's gonna affect,
And
I guess the question becomes, does it affect the frequency of the bus? Doing the flex, doing the micro? And then the other question becomes, are we moving people on that micro transit bus and away from door to door? Because right now, do we know what the door to door service is? Or do we just have a whole number from Wave about what all the services they provide right now are?
We had a
Cost.
really good broken down report, was it the last meeting, I believe? Yeah, the last meeting. Where it's a door to door report, which it gives how many trips in Scio Township, it gave a breakdown for all. the
Yeah.
information.
No, I mean.
not from dollars.
No.
Not for,
Do
I,
we know how much our door to door costs and how much our, I think we
Yes.
do, I think we had something.
I have that, give me just a moment, I can tell you that.
I think the other question in my mind is the long term. Okay, so, and this gets to your point, Kim, is if you take out AATA, how many more riders then are riding the corridor? And at what point does the taking off that one bus no longer provide adequate service? Or
Yes.
meeting a
I
service
mean,
that meets the
yeah,
needs?
yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Door to door township wide in the October 1, 25 to September 30, 26 from Wave was $156,000 even.
And Jackson Road,
Jackson Road was $202,800.
Oh, interesting.
and the community connector, Chelsea,
63,000 $375.
This 2025, 2026.
Correct.
Okay. Because there's the two buses running up and down Jackson Road, and the Chelsea. Is that why?
That's more.
Because the Chelsea
Chelsea.
bus does this, Community Connector does the same thing as the Jackson Community Connector,
Yep,
except that it goes to Chelsea. So why is that less expensive? Oh, cause Chelsea shares some of
Shares
that
the
cost.
Chelsea's, and I think Dexter also shares some of the cost.
And Dexter
And it
shares.
also only runs one bus, so there's less frequency. That would be my assumption.
So there's two Jackson Road Community Connector buses?
That's what Marie said last time.
Okay.
Yep. I think I'm looking at this again, the top part of this chart is triple ATA. For the same time period we just referenced, fixed route service was 416,795. Wow. How far is it from Wagner Road? Like, I'm gonna ask Google.
Wagner to Meyer?
Wagner Road and Jackson Road to Meyer. Let's ask Google this question, right? I think this is the right one. Yep, that's right. Wagner Road and Jackson Road, Scio Township. That's 2.4 miles. I can't believe we couldn't save something to the tune of, I would hope, darn close to 6 figures by cutting off that, I actually think we could save even more than that, because really, if you look at it at that point, if we're only serving Wagner and Jackson Roads, the amount of that run that's in Scio Township is,
Wagner and Jackson is Ann Arbor.
is City of Ann Arbor, so therefore
Where?
we should know at triple ATA anything, yeah?
Right.
What is Ann Arbor?
Jackson and Wagner at the place where the bus.
Yes,
stops
that's Ann
first
Arbor.
Is City of Ann Arbor.
That's correct.
Now, if you go to the other side of the street where the car dealerships are, that is both Scio Township.
So Ford, varsity
No,
Ford?
no, sorry.
Oh, you mean the west?
West side of
Yes,
the
yes,
intersection, yes,
Yes, Scio.
yes, yep,
Our gateway.
yeah, nice sign.
Yeah, and if you go back to what, the email that came from AAA.
What they said, basically, I don't think they said that we don't wanna do it.
No, but they said that, yeah, but.
Well, this number two answer where it says,
Yes,
it adds some restrictions to our service design, but until we have an alternative design, it is difficult to provide cost estimate. Well, if we don't have you going behind Wagner, there is no cost to us. So
part of
based
the,
on our current plans, we anticipate that we'll bus stop near that intersection. So the cost to Scio would be very low.
part of the problem I don't like about the relationship between triple ATA, the township and Wave, is that in order for Wave to get some of its funding to defer some of the costs of the township, Wave and triple ATA have to collaborate at some level.
Yeah.
I find that personally frustrating, and I'm sure that others do too. But I don't like it because it makes it kind of just doesn't look good. Yeah, I'm disappointed our state legislators for doing that.
Well, it ties Wave's hands.
Yeah,
On the other hand, if we're all in the business of transit across community lines, it's okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with AATA getting a 29% money
Incentive.
back
It's perfect.
29% incentive from MDOT when they go into Scio and provide us service. I don't mind that. But I think the problem comes in is when we try to, ask for some kind of different configuration from AATA and stuff. There is, like you say, I guess there's not the flexibility. And you know, this has been a discussion with the Western Washtenaw Advisory Group, W2 GAP, RAG. Because we invited Watts to come to our meetings the last couple of years during a transportation meeting. And basically, we've said to them, you're spending all this time dealing with AATA in Ann Arbor. You're paying no attention to the western part of the county, which is huge.
Mhm.
Albeit it's more expensive to provide transit because it's rural. But, and after that, because we made, a couple of us, including myself, spoke up about it. And then I think our problem, and they were responsive. They said, what would you like? And et cetera, et cetera. And I don't believe we followed up well, that group, but that's kind of a loose group there.
Mhm.
That's not, you know, and I found out our Watts representative is
John Reiser.
John Reiser. And I sent John an email saying, let's sit down and talk, and because he kind of admitted he didn't know a lot about transit. And I said, well, let's sit down, but it occurred to me that the lack of planning, it's not Kim and John. Like I need, maybe this group we can use a little bit, because this is gonna be a permanent committee. Because who shows up at these Watts meetings? AATA. And so all the planning for transit in our county runs through that
Because I would
That-
think way
prism,
people
if you
should
will.
press, you know, the people who provide, other providers should be there. But the other thing is with the,
Well,
that,
because the way it's all, it's just talking about what you were saying, the way it's all set up. The way it's set up is they are the big provider within the county, and that's understandable. And the problem that what I'm saying is it's our fault that we are not present at these Watts meetings.
yeah,
We used to be. Okay, to effectuate the decisions that Watts is making,
Yeah.
that they come up with a
see, what I
plan for
think
them.
is our Watts representative should be in this committee.
I'm okay with that.
That's a good idea.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, our former clerk was on the Watts committee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Nancy, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so either Reed and Riser switch, or we add somebody, you know. But I think that, but I'll have to reiterate that.
Because they're the ones that are, I mean, this is just one, how it affects the communities. Watts decides they decide the formula for how unsafe an intersection is for whether or not it gets a roundabout. And I remember the former manager of Chelsea was questioning who's making that formula, and of course they do. You know, and so it affects, transportation is about the roads and all that stuff too. But I do believe that somebody should be going to those meetings, and somebody that knows transit a little bit. And no, I'm not asking to be put on that. But if he or she were part of this group, there would be more information sharing.
Yeah,
I think
I
that's
think
a
that
great
would, that's a link when Ryan comes back. The other thing is, do we know what the urban rural, because we lose that funding. So we need to know how much that impacts that. If AATA is $400 and some thousand, and if we go back to no service, we also lose that.
What we lose is, well, AATA reduces, I believe, so I believe they reduce their cost to us because they get that 29%
Okay,
from MDOT, okay? That's how it benefits us, okay?
but if we eliminate that,
But
if we're not contracting with them,
we don't pay the 500, 600,000 a year to them. And they don't get the
They don't
29%.
get the 29%
Yeah, we don't ever get it, but we get it through a reduced cost,
for them to run
their service.
service.
That's correct. And and this is what I don't know. Because we finally got to a place where we realized that 2024, 2025, a wave services would be at 183 grand or 184 grand. And I think it got reduced from the chart, the 10-year chart that was at 260, because they were able to do that because of this 29% that AATA got. That's what I don't know. Does that make sense? Am I?
Yeah, I think there are two, I kind of see, I think there's the Marie thing. And then really the choices with AAATA are go back to Wagner and that's it. No more AAATA, or because we still, I think, probably have to reduce costs beyond
Yes.
what Wave can do. And then it's,
And AATA
Then
is
you
not
run
saying
it
they
an
can
hour
reduce
or
any
whatever.
costs.
right. And so, well, then you're back to Wagner.
I bet you what's happened with,
And then there might be an increase in Wave costs if
they take on more
if they
service
take on more
issues.
services.
Mhm.
And so I think that's the alternative, sort of the wave only micro transit alternative. And that may be where we're at just based on funding.
Mm.
So as I understand it, make sure I understand this, Pittsfield got rid of all of these fixed routes and
No,
their flex ride.
FlexRide is the only thing they got rid of.
Well, what is flex ride?
FlexRide was, in my understanding, a microtransit solution, similar to what we're exploring, but ran by AAATA or a contract route.
Oh, okay. So they got rid of the deviations, the demand part of it, go out, pick up a person.
I think you're using People's Express, who's able to do it more cost effectively than
Right.
AAA is for whichever reason.
So they
It
still
might be
have the
because
routes.
they're getting some different subsidies. It might be because they're banking on getting more money from the older person services millage. And it might be because they're a smaller organization and are able to manage their costs better than a larger organization. I don't know, could be a combination of all those things. Not really something I can speak to without asking, which I hopefully will have more information next time for us on that.
I mean, that also goes back to AAATA and say, well, if you say, I can't, then we're going with someone who says, I can't.
Wow.
Right.
Look at those numbers.
Uh-huh,
Their fixed routes was 290K
uh-huh,
for all those fixed routes.
uh-huh.
Okay, then their flex ride
And ours is
was
400.
180. Oh, no, we're beyond that. We're like, well, our current. No, we're at 6.7. We're at 6.
But that's for everything, right?
That's for A-Ride and Jackson Road Corridor for AATA.
So
A-Ride,
6, I thought that doesn't include Wave.
well, I'm just saying,
Just for.
Wave is 360,000 of that, or
Okay.
350 of that.
Fixed route service in this township from AAATA costs $416,795.
From AAA.
Correct. And then if you look at that side by side, like I said, it's not 100% apples to apples, but.
How much is it?
416,795.
And they're paying for multiple routes. 290. Now, some of those are, some of those routes
They're-
are absorbed by
but-
AATA millage. I mean.
And that's
Ann
all,
Arbor.
that's also it's also a prior year, so there has been cost increase,
Yeah.
so there's that, but. I mean, their total cost. Yeah, I am flabbergasted by how much we're paying for fixed route service from AAA. I think we need to look at the amount of miles.
I mean, Wave might even be able to do run the connector down there or something like that. So there's I don't know. I think, I'm,
There's room for.
There's room for some additional discussion.
Mhm.
Oops, oh well,
168, 374 for a ride. That's only people within 3/4 of the. Okay.
and then, right, so,
but they have a lot of bus stops comparative to us. With all those routes, they have a lot more people that live 3/4 of a mile than we do.
what do you think?
I think we have another meeting on January 8th. I am going to remind, I'm gonna send out that email with those two documents that folks asked for, both the September 9th agenda item and the October 25th letter that was sent from the township to AAA and Wave. I have the email drafted right now, so it'll go out shortly.
Okay.
I will follow up persistently, even if it's after the holidays, with our friends in Pittsfield to see what additional information I can bring. And I think it would make sense at the very least, if not to invite both parties, to at least invite Marie back and share with her the information that we've learned and that we've discussed here today and sort of what our next thoughts are.
And so she can kind of think about that too, and if there isn't, if you look at the dollars and you look at what we have to do to meet the village, I don't.
We can't contract with AAA, we can't. I don't see a way.
Yeah, and they haven't.
They also have not been trained. And once again, for whichever reason, I wish there was just more creativity or more,
Even flexibility, yeah.
more attempt at flexibility, yeah. Yeah. I do have a hard stop here in just about a minute unless you guys have anything else.
No, I think.
No, I think we've talked about it a lot.
I think
Appreciate
I think we can, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn at 10:14.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned at 10:14.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great holiday.
And